Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today. My name is Becky Hayman. My email address is there. I know my head is in the way, but it's becky@tradictive.com. And I'm just going to go through some disclaimers, make sure that we cover those, that they are, they're being highlighted there at the top of the screen. Obviously important for you guys to realize that these kind of videos are demonstrational. Now that means that we show you how we do things, we show you our technology and how we think about the markets, but of course you can ignore that entirely if you'd like, you can take it on board if you'd like, or something in between. Ultimately up to you as a trader to decide what works best for you. So I said that my email address was becky@tradictive.com. There's also this link here, tradewithufos.com/Becky. So let me just bring that up. There we go. So this is where you'd come if you go to that link, and at the top here you can get yourself a free Trade with UFOs membership. Just fill in your name and email and follow the steps. Those memberships will send you recordings of the YouTube videos that we do, reminders for the YouTube videos that we do. We will send you this market commentary that I'm about to go through, that will come through to you every day. But most importantly to me anyway, it means you can come down and ask a question here in a public space. Now I would prefer that rather than an email, just because it means other people see the question, and when I answer it, other people see the answer. So it means it's very transparent, everybody in the community can learn from the same place. So of course if you want to email me, of course you're welcome to, but if you do feel comfortable to ask a question publicly, that would be great. You can also from here book one-to-one coaching with me if you'd like. Okay, so market commentary, what is it? What are we doing? Let's take a look. So we send out an email that looks like this every day, obviously corresponds to market data. So this email is sent out every day and it looks at 5 major markets in the world. Essentially we are looking at the probabilities that lie up, down or nowhere, where we would buy or sell, what the volatility would be for each of these markets. That's what our 3D approach is, looking at 3 different elements. So the first element is probability up or down, do we buy or sell? We use this app here, it's called our Auto Climate app, that helps us to figure this out. This is a free app by the way, so once you've got your free Trade with UFOs membership, depending on which platform you use, but with most of them it's a free app that you can download. We use this app to help us. Ignore the lines for now, just focus on the thicker dots at the bottom. If it's a thick blue dot, that's the Auto Climate app telling us probability upwards. If it's a thick red dot, that's the Auto Climate app's way of telling us probability downwards. If it's a thin dot of either colour, that's Auto Climate app's telling us there's not enough probability either way, do nothing. So we use technology to help us answer that question. The second question is, if we're going to buy, where do we buy? If we're going to sell, where do we sell? This is where UFOs come in, unfilled orders. That's what these little flying saucers are. We've got green ones, we've got red ones. The green ones here show us where we have buy orders, where there's likely to be a lot of buying. So we want to buy where there's lots of buying, because it's much more likely to beat the selling and push price upwards. If we're going to sell, then we'd sell at the red UFOs, because that's where we have evidence of lots of selling. If we're going to sell, we want to sell with lots of other selling, so it's more likely to beat the buyers and push price down. So again, we are using an app here, AutoUFOs, to show us where these stacks of buy and sell orders are. We then have market volatility. Basically, how quickly are these markets going to move and what would be the relevant risk or reward. So we'll have a look at each of these elements per market. So the first market we look at is actually going to be the S&P 500, the top 500 US stocks. We're actually looking at the ES, which is a futures contract for it. Essentially, if you don't understand what futures are, we're looking at a representation of US stocks. Now we're looking at a daily chart for each of these markets, so different things do happen on different time frames. What we're looking at here is relevant to daily charts. Okay, so market climate, first and foremost, is a confirmed downwards climate, thick red dot there, probability to the downside. Now usually this market would go down for 2.96 candles. Let's round that up to 3. Normally it goes down for 3 candles and we're on candle number 1. Meaning based on what usually happens, it's likely to go down again for another couple of days before it changes direction. However, what may be happening here is we have buy orders literally just there. So we have buy orders at 41.85 to 41.42.50. They've actually already worked to push price up a little bit here. Price has come back in. It's actually moving out a tiny bit right now. So we have sell orders that are coming in from the climate, but buy orders that are coming in from our AutoUFOs. So selling versus buying. We've got two competing forces going on at the moment. I personally would choose to keep out of that, let whoever's going to win win, and then jump on that bandwagon. Otherwise, you're kind of getting involved in the middle of a fight. Lots of buyers and lots of sellers. It's kind of a guess to pick which one you would be getting on board with. So to me, not enough probabilities either way here, because two competing forces, sellers versus buyers in the same place. We'd rather be buyers with buyers or sellers with sellers. Now in terms of volatility, in a year we would expect the S&P, so the top 500 US stocks, to go up or down by 18.28%, which means in a day up or down of 48.38 points. In a week that would be 106.49 points up or down, and in a month up or down of 221.69 points. So that's how much we would expect it to move within these given periods of time. Now we'd use our climate and UFOs to help us figure out in which direction that's more likely to happen. For the time being, two competing forces, so I'm going to let that play out, see who wins. Okay, so next market is oil. In the meantime, it says up here about educating yourself, different courses that we offer. We do them in stocks, futures, forex, backtesting, psychology, trading plans. So you can take any one of our courses and you can just go to the website and register for a course straight there. Now what's interesting about these is that most of our courses come with 3-month complimentary access to the UFOs and AutoClimate. So if you're not particularly interested in getting a course but you want to use the UFOs, well, UFOs on TradingView, for example, which is the one I'm using here, are $34 per month. So if you do a course, which is a one-off fee of $34 or a one-off fee of $89, and you get UFOs for 3 months, then you've got the UFOs for cheaper, if that makes sense. So you could just do a course in order to get the cheaper UFOs. And if you're going to do that, I would suggest you do a course that makes the most sense for you to do. So you can check those out. Okay, so oil. We have a confirmed upwards climate, thick blue dot, probability upwards with oil. Now usually this market goes up for 6.46 candles. Let's just round that up to 7. So normally it goes up for 7 candles. We are on candle number 17, which means we've gone way past what's usual in this market. Now what that means is it's less likely to keep going up. The more something goes past what's usual, the less likely it is to keep doing that. So bear that in mind. We do still have probability upwards, so it's still worth looking for buying opportunities if you want to do that, but just bear in mind that it's unlikely to continue for much longer. In terms of UFOs, we have buy orders here, 71.78 to 70.65. So we have buy orders coming in from the climate, buy orders coming in from the UFOs. So overall probability upwards here for oil, but just bear in mind that it may not continue very long because it's already gone way past the usual move to the upside. Now in terms of volatility, we would expect in 1 year a movement up or down of 33.83%. which means in a day up or down of 1.54 points, in a week up or down of 3.39 points, and up or down in a month of 7.05 points. Okay, so that's oil. Let's move on to the next market, which is gold. Like it says there about AutoUFOs, you can subscribe to them directly if you'd like. Again, you can check that out on the website. Look at that drop, we'll talk about that in a second. Or you can get them as part of a course. Okay, so gold. We have, unsurprisingly, a confirmed downwards climate, thick red dot there, probability down. That's pretty obvious to see at the moment, isn't it? Now, usually this market goes down for 6.29 candles. Let's round that up to 7, and we're on candle number 4. So based on what usually happens, likely to see a continuous move down then. Now, with our buy and sell UFOs, we're kind of, let me squidge this a little bit so we can see that a bit better. We're kind of in the middle of two, because we have one here at 1962.5 to 1938.4, so closest sellers. Down here we have buy orders at 1652.8 to 1624.4, and at the moment we're hovering around 1784, which means we're kind of halfway between stacks of buy and sell orders, and we're unlikely to hit either one of them in a day. So for the moment, the probabilities that we have are coming from the climate. The UFOs that we have on the chart at the moment are unlikely to impact gold very soon. Now, we might develop new buy and sell orders, so keep an eye out for those, but for the time being, what we have on the chart, it's the climate that's really telling us what's going on, which is confirmed downwards, probability down. Now, in terms of volatility, we expect in a year movement on gold of 16.30%, which means in a day up or down of 18.53 points, in a week up or down of 40.80 points, and in a month up or down of 89.93 points. Okay, so that is gold. Let's move on to the next market. Before we do that, so just to say there, coaching and support, we obviously offer it for free on YouTube and Facebook, so you can follow us on there and watch us trade, and we explain our methodology and we explain what we're doing using the technology, so you can follow us on YouTube and Facebook for free. We also have a closed coaching community, which is $21 per month. Now that gives you access to more of our time in a closed environment. Either way, the content's the same. We're still going to be showing you what we're doing. We're still using our technology, but you just have access to more of our time in that closed environment if you are one of our coaching members, and it's $21 per month. Okay, moving on to the next market, which is the US dollar. So the US dollar is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide every day. So be aware of it. Even if you don't trade it, be aware of it. It will impact all the other markets we look at and then some. So not surprising here, confirmed upwards climate, probability upwards there on the US dollar. So that's what we see here. Now, usually the dollar would go up, up for 4.65 candles, which is 5 candles. Let's round that up. And we're on candle number 4. So still within what would be normal in terms of a move to the upside. Now what we do have, if we look at it here, we have sell orders that we've just touched. Those sell orders are 92.43 to 91.785. Now they'd actually already worked here. Price came in, touched those sell orders and moved down from there. That's what we expect sell orders to do, is push price down, which is why we want to know exactly where the prices are so that we can sell at that price too. Now we have buy orders here, 90.64 to 90.31. So of course much closer to the sell orders. We've got a confirmed climate pushing it up, but we've got sell orders now that we've just hit. So similar situation to what we saw earlier on with oil. Was it oil? Might have been the US stock market there, where we have two competing forces. Yes, it was US stocks. Kind of makes sense. These guys are correlated, of course. When we have a confirmed upwards climate and then sell orders, we've got buying versus selling. They're fighting each other. On the US markets, we had a confirmed downwards climate and then buy orders. Either way, same thing. We're still fighting off against two big forces that are competing forces, rival forces. So again, for me, I would rather keep out of that. Let whoever's going to win, so that we can keep out of it and get on board whenever they're going to be winning, so that we have more probabilities, because we'd have buy orders with buy orders or sell orders with sell orders rather than buy versus sell orders, if that makes sense. Now in terms of volatility with the dollar, it moves less than the others. So in a year we would expect movement up or down of 5.53%, which in a day is 0.32 points, in a week 0.7 points, and in a month 1.46 points, either up or down. Okay, last market, which is backed Bitcoin. Now this is the only one that's indecisive at the moment, because on backed Bitcoin we have an unconfirmed climate, a thin dot there. That tells us not enough probabilities either way. It doesn't know what it's doing. It doesn't have probability upwards or downwards. It just kind of doesn't know what it's doing. This would have been a great play for some option strategies recently. Now, with buy and sell UFOs, we have buy orders just here, 38,410 to 35,825, and we've just hit that stack of buy orders. So we may see price move up from there based on the buy orders. We have sell orders here, 51,782.5 to 46,807.5. So at the moment, closer to the buy orders I would say what's probably more likely to happen is we'll see price move up as a result of these buy orders, and then we might see price start to confirm itself. But we'll see. At the moment, the climate is still unconfirmed, so it's still something I would keep away from, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that play out as we've just described. Now with volatility, Bitcoin is more volatile than the others, so be aware of that. In 1 year, we would expect it to move up or down of 109.77%, which means in a day, 2,715.81. It's quite a big movement. In a week, 5,978.58, and in a month, 12,445.41. These are the movements that we would expect up or down. So that is the 5 markets that we're looking at, the probabilities where they lie, why they lie there, depending on climate versus UFOs, and what would be the best sort of course of action. Now again, bearing in mind, we are never 100% right. Nobody is in the markets, so manage our risk just in case. You may have other things that you layer on top of this as well. Now, if you have questions about courses, apps, coaching, memberships, you can self-schedule a clarification call, speak to one of our experts, and see what might work best for you, if anything. There's also this bit here, which is our weekly economic calendar. We take it from fxstreet.com, and we filter by high impact news, so that we have an idea of where we might see volatility in the markets. For example, today being Thursday, Japanese yen, later on in the evening, US time, which might be tomorrow depending on where you are in the world, Japanese yen might see some movement as it has scheduled reporting that's likely to increase volatility. So be aware of those things. Any questions about what I've gone through, if you're confused about anything, by all means reach out. You can email me if you'd like, becky@tradictive.com, or you can go to, if I just bring it up again, go to this link here, tradewithufos.com/Becky. You can get yourself a free Trade with UFOs membership. You can book one-to-one coaching with me if you'd like. And then you can come down here once you've got your free membership and ask questions in a public space, so that I can answer them in the public space and everybody can learn from the same area. So that's me done for today. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the market commentary for tomorrow, and keep an eye out for the sessions that we do today on YouTube. I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you have a great trading day.